Hello everyone, my name is Cassandra Chavez. I'm the College Admissions Assistant here at College Planning Source, and today I'm going to be talking to you about mental health, and specifically mental health in transitioning to college. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. All right, so a little bit about myself first. In my undergraduate, I was a resident advisor slash peer mentor. So I was able to serve on the transition floor, so freshman floor. So I've been able to experience firsthand myself and experience firsthand of helping others transitioning from high school to college. And this is a lot of stuff that I noticed and a lot of stuff that I've done some research on of how to better prepare your student for their first years of college. So first is common challenges that first-time freshmen encounter. So the very first thing is sleep. So students really don't have a sense of time, unfortunately, when it comes to their sleeping patterns. And I'd have to work a lot with students one-on-one of really having an honest conversation with them that sleep is really important to their just overall health. It'll help them better in their education, um, it'll help better develop their mind as well. Next is their social interactions. So students are going to be introduced to a wide variety of people their freshman year, and they really don't know how to interact with some others due to like maybe their habits, so drugs and alcohol with some people, maybe money spending habits and stuff like that. So really just understanding how to be themselves and how to interact with others. Next is their time management. This is also a really important one, just because, again, like with sleep, they don't have a sense of their own schedules yet. So they really need to start understanding that building a schedule and creating one will ultimately help further their future education. Next is nutrition. So freshman 15 is a real thing if students don't understand a proper nutrition balance in their life. Well, yeah, it's okay to still go get the free pizza that they offer on campus and the free donuts at midnight and everything like that. They do need to understand that they do need to incorporate some fruits and vegetables within their balanced nutrition, just to make sure that they are properly fueling their body, so ultimately in the end they can have a better mindset. Next is money habits, money spending habits in particular. Typically, this is the first time a student will have their first job or their own income to spend freely. So students just really need to understand the concept of saving their money and spending it wisely. Well, it's okay to still go out with friends and spend money on food or a little vacation. They really need to think about their money and how to stretch their dollar a little bit more. And lastly is self-motivation. So something that I encountered with my students a lot were they were saying, I'm at school because I'm here for my parents. I'm here for my little sister. I'm here for my family members. I'm here to be a leader in my community. That's completely fine. And I think that's a great moral thing to do. But ultimately, in the end, they have to remember that they are there for themselves. They want to better their own education and they want to really just enhance their own skills. So they need to have that self-motivation of, I am here in college because I want to be here, not because my parents want me to be here, not because my grandparents want me to be here. They want to be in college and bettering themselves for themselves. So we really need to start preparing students for the rigors and life challenges that colleges bring. So I mentioned those 6 that I would commonly see a lot within my first-time freshman floor. But really, we need to start preparing students to be resilient. So resiliency is the process of being able to adapt well and bounce back quickly in the time of stress. And their freshman year is going to be full of stress. It's good stress, though, because it's a new environment and they really need to understand, this is part of growing up. This is part of learning these 8 different habits and really developing them nicely. So the first one is practice mindfulness. So loads of campuses are already doing this, so they can just start incorporating it well. But to do this early on in like sophomore year of high school, or even right now when they're applying to colleges, it's a great time to do it. Just be really encouraging to your student and make sure they're speaking positively upon themselves of, if you hear them say, I'm not good enough to write this essay, or my writing isn't that strong, just be like, hey, take a step back. We can make it. We can make you become a better writer. You can do this. It's a lot of you can statements rather than you can't statements. Next is establishing a good self-care program. You want to make sure that the student is able to really function on their own and make sure that they have the um, proper healthy habits of like showering and washing clothes and just keeping tidy, just good hygiene. Just really is ultimately what it comes down to. So we want to teach that early to them as well. Another thing to teach early is managing their technology use. Well, I am totally a victim of scrolling on my phone, sometimes on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all of this stuff. It really needs to be regulated, not just for the sense of you're not sitting and staring at your phone all the time too, but just so the social interactions can still be developing. Encourage them to go hang out with their friends in person, or instead of scrolling through it, maybe FaceTime them through the technology use. It's more managing technology use of unhealthy habits into better habits. So really just making sure that if technology is being used, it's used in a healthy way. Next is creating and maintaining a schedule. So back to those previous 6 challenges that I noticed students were facing, it really comes down to having a schedule and maintaining it, but actually sticking to it as well. So I know a lot of students love to have the calendars and the bullet list and everything like that, but really if they actually use it is what it comes down to. It doesn't have to be a fancy app or a fancy planner that's $50. It really can just be a simple checklist that they start at the beginning of the day, or the beginning of the week, and they can just find a chance to schedule it within their week itself. And another thing is to maybe encourage them to start doing it now. You can build it with them. You can say, hey, this is what you typically do in a week. Maybe start filling it in on your own, or let's write it down on a calendar together or something. Really make it an engaging process. Next is the discussion of the use of drugs and alcohol. So it's really important to bring this up to your students on earlier, particularly in between that summer between senior year of college or senior year of high school and freshman year of college. Like I mentioned before, they're going to be introduced to a wide, diverse group of students, and sometimes students come from different backgrounds where the use of drugs and alcohol is okay before the legal limit or anything like that. But just have a discussion with your students. It's okay to have fun when you're a certain age and are eligible to, but remember why you are there in college. Remember why you have these morals and goals that you want to motivate yourself to do better, and you don't want to get lost in bad habits as well. So just have an open and honest discussion with them. So if something were to go a little bit wrong later down the line, they can feel comfortable talking to you or asking, how can I help somebody else too as well. Next is getting regular physical exercise. Most of the students, they were athletes in high school, and it's going to be a pretty tough transition from, going from school to soccer to homework to sleep every night to just having schoolwork, and that's about it. And sometimes you can see, that freshman 15 come on because there's no physical activity in there. And it doesn't always have to be as dramatic as, playing the sport full time or becoming an official athlete at the school. It can simply be going on walks around the campus or just walks around the neighborhood to start preparing them for that. And it doesn't have to be such intense stuff too. If you just want to throw a ball with them outside or frisbee or just light activities, it's super, super helpful to do. And it's always great to find something that they really enjoy so that way they can continue it on into college as well. Next is developing healthy eating habits. Like I mentioned before, this is a huge, huge thing that happens is their lack of nutrition once they get into college. So if you start it early, it'll just be helpful just for the rest of their life, to be honest, to start, incorporating fruits and vegetables in their everyday meals or as a snack. It's just really important to start that now. So going into college, it's just second nature of when they're grocery shopping. Oh, I need to buy some apples and some oranges to incorporate, and I need to get some lettuce and some zucchini so I can make this certain meal. That way they're not, when they go into college, it's not, let me just order a pizza because it's convenient. Let me make this meal because I know I'll be full and it'll be a better use of my time and it's good nutrition. Next is form good sleeping habits. So like I mentioned before, students just kind of lose their track of time because they don't have a curfew anymore. They can stay out as late as they want, but unfortunately that means you either wake up late and you miss your class, and that really sucks. And it's hard to make up attendance credit as well. Like some professors won't find different opportunities for you to make that up. So developing good sleeping habits now is just really important. So when they go to college and they realize I have a 9 a.m. class, they probably shouldn't stay up till 3 a.m. because I remember in high school I pulled an all-nighter and I just didn't feel good the next day. So it's just really important to start everything, all of these really great 8 preparing to just ultimately help them later on, whether it be 2 years from then when you have the conversation, or from 2 months for when they leave to college. So next, like I mentioned before, I worked in housing and a peer mentorship program, and these were 4 top tips from our housing and student success department that we would just always encourage parents to do before the student came into college. So first was to enhance on their problem solving skills. This was really important because a lot of the times parents, they feel the need to want to just solve the problem for the student. And I completely understand. They're your baby. You don't want anything to happen to them. You want to be able to help them in any way that you can. But a really great way that you can help them is by allowing them to solve things on their own, which kind of leads into the second point of teach your students to be independent. It's really great and empowering to see your kid be able to stand up for themselves, to speak on their own, and really solve problems that they know that they can feel confident of doing on them. The third one is practice emotional regulation. So something that we saw a lot of the time, especially with the first-time freshmen, is when they were to get frustrated or stressed or overwhelmed, emotions on all ends would come out, either very sad and fall into a depression, mad and be manic, or 3 is just go into the use of drugs and alcohol because they don't know how to express their emotion. And, that's an easier way for sometimes the students to kind of let their guard down. So if you talk to them early and really engage with them that, if something's stressing you out, talk to me about it. Talk to your friend about it. If something's mad, maybe do a physical activity where you can just get that adrenaline out. So practicing emotional regulation, I think, is super, super important. So when it comes to college and they engage in a situation where they become very stressed, very overwhelmed, they know how to handle it, and they can always talk to somebody as well. The next one is have an open and honest conversations with your student about their future. So a big reason why we tell parents to do this with their students is because a lot of the times the parents are just like, okay, like, I'm proud of you, and that's that. And I think it's really important for a parent to express why they're proud of them. And your future success really depends on the child's happiness, and they want to make sure that they're happy in what they're doing, and ultimately later on they can do the same thing for their own children. Another honest conversation that you should really have with your students before they go into college or pick a college is the open and honest discussion of financial manners. So a student understands if they can even apply to the school if they get in, could their family afford it? And that's a really, really hard conversation sometimes to have between a parent and a student, just because as a parent, I'm sure you want to give them all that you can, but the student needs to understand that you can still receive a great education. It doesn't always have to be for $60,000 to $80,000. You can find a school that's really good for yourself. All right, so some common mental health services on college campuses. So when researching these, I looked at a lot of CSUs, a lot of UCs, a lot of out-of-state, public, private. All of these were at a campus to some degree. So a student success center, sometimes it's just called a student center. An SSL, so student life and leadership. There's always going to be some sort of student success center where a student can go to get tutoring, to get advising advice, anything that really can help them for any school stressors. So if they don't quite understand how to take a course or how to pick a course, they can talk to an advisor. If they don't understand a class, they can go to a tutor. That is all provided to the students, and it typically is included with a student's fees within a tuition. So it should be free for the program. If they need additional support outside of that, then there may be a slight fee as well. Next is the Student Health and Counseling Center. So again, within tuition, there should be a student health fee and a counseling fee as well. And this is really, really great. And I'm super glad that a lot of colleges are already just including this within a program and it's not another fee. But like it is, it's a student health center. So nutrition habits, sleeping habits, they can talk to an actual physician there and get some more advice on how to better their mind and health. Next is the counseling center. So this is really, really great. Again, sessions are typically covered within tuition, and a lot of students don't take advantage of that, where you can get like 8 sessions for free to just talk to a licensed counselor on campus. And they can help you out with any emotional problems that's going on, physical problems that are going on. It's just really a place for a student to vent to, and I feel like a lot of students don't take advantage of it. So it's really important for the student to know and for the parent to know too that there's a place for my student to go in case they aren't feeling their best and they need someone to talk to. The next one is gym and clubs. So a lot of people don't think it's like a mental health service, but it really is. A gym and clubs and like intramurals are a great way for a student to release some of that stress from them. So a gym, lifting weights, clubs / intramurals is just a good way for students to like stay healthy, and it's good to get that movement. So again, back to that physical exercise, it's really, really good for a student to partake in these activities. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be the club or the intramural where it's a group effort, where it's just at the gym where you just want to go on the treadmill and just run something out. And lastly is peer mentors and resident advisors. So like I mentioned, I was a resident advisor and a peer mentor in my undergrad, and we really helped students with a lot of problems that they had. Sometimes I would direct them to a counseling center or the student health center if it was a little bit more serious and I couldn't talk them through it. But I helped many students just kind of get through the week or just get through just a tough time. And a lot of the times they just need someone to talk to them and let them know like what they're feeling is okay, and validate that it's hard to go to college and it's hard to be a first-time freshman. You're away from your parents, and it's a new community. But really, at all 4 of these centers, we're there to help the students understand that you can find the community that you want at this college, and you can find people who appreciate you for you and are going to help you with your own mental and physical health. All right, so the last one regarding mental health and the transition to college is you want to make sure that you're choosing the right fit college beyond academics. Well, it's great to go to a college that is the best for engineering. It may not be the best for the student. So you really want to think about what are your students' passions, what are their values and morals, what are their interests, and it may sound cliche, but what's their favorite location? If you know they thrive in a sunny environment, maybe not send them to Washington, Seattle, because it's pretty gloomy over there. And, it can really put an effect on their mind and their interest in values and passions and morals. If a school doesn't really agree with a student's mission statement of, I really value volunteer work, and they don't offer a lot of volunteer work at the school or engaging programs, maybe that isn't the best fit for them. Because again, academics is the reason why you're there, and it's the reason why you are paying for your student to go there, but you really want to make sure that they can thrive outside of academics as well. You want them to become a very well-rounded adult with a great education as well. So that is all I have to discuss about today about the mental health and transitioning to college. It's a lot more in depth too. If you have any more questions or need any more guidance regarding specific schools or any questions that you have with your student in particular, just shoot your counselor a text or an email, and they can answer it to the best of their ability, or you can contact me and I can contact the schools directly. But thank you all so much for watching, and if you all have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below and I will get to them as soon as I can. Bye-bye.